Hello and welcome. Yeah, me stumbling over my words again. Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And this is the weekly stars and transits. So this is the keys to having a successful week. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer, Donald Patak. There's my email, copyright, standard YouTube. Keys to the reading. I do read astrology a little differently. I use the visible sky, sometimes called constellational astrology, also referred to as sidereal astrology, as opposed to tropical astrology. Tropical astrology froze the sky basically in place way back in the early 200s and hasn't changed since, versus what's called precession of the equinox, which says not only do the planets move, but the constellations also move very, very slowly. It's how we're in the age of Pisces. I use the natural size of the constellations. So there are astrologers who have them all the same size. In reality, when you're looking at them in the visible sky, they're all different sizes. Virgo is huge at just under 50 degrees. Aries is just under 25. Oh, okay. I use astrological midpoints as opposed to, or astronomical midpoints as opposed to the IAU boundaries. The IAU boundaries are kind of arbitrarily drawn. Athan Shimenti came up with what he called midpoints, and he did his calculation using the zodiac belt and a little geometry, and I think it's more accurate. I like using it. In ancient times, there were 13 signs. The sign that's been removed is called Ophiuchus. He is, since 1995, he's been restored. Not every astrologer uses him. It's the symbol of the wounded healer. It's the symbol is that of a man holding a snake by the head and tail. In ancient times, a snake symbolized knowledge, so holding it by the head and tail, and it's symbolized the control of knowledge. And it's the wounded healer, so he used this knowledge to heal himself and then heal others. These are the weekly transits. So these are universal lessons for everyone. So these are the challenges and the lessons that everybody is facing this week. Apply them first and foremost to yourself, of course. And finally, I interpret using what's called evolutionary astrology, meaning these are lessons to learn. We all came here, our birth chart is our soul contract. We came here to learn lessons and to fulfill that contract. I'm telling you about the lessons that we're all facing this week. And this is the weekly, whoops, I'll move this and I'll make myself bigger. This is the weekly transit report for June 17th through 23rd, 2024. The moon is incredibly busy this week. So if emotionally you feel like a little bit of a roller coaster, this is why. It starts out in Virgo, and then we'll spend a day in Libra, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, before finally, I think it's on Friday, settling into Sagittarius. Thursday or Friday, it's in Sagittarius. Off the top of my head, we'll get there in the reading. And then late Sunday night, it steps into Capricorn. That's half the zodiac. So this week, be ready for a little bit of an emotional roller coaster, and we will have a full moon in Sagittarius. I believe it's on Friday. Sign changes. The first half of the week, it's a little busy with that. Sun, Mercury, and Venus. The proper order, of course, is Venus, Mercury, and then the Sun. Active this week. The most transits are being made by Mercury. Important lesson this week is learning and communication. So be open to that. There are aspects with Mars and to Mars, Neptune, and the nodes of the moon. Those are the lessons, specific lessons to be learned. And a retrograde, which means it looks like it's working backwards in the sky. Pluto is retrograde and will be so pretty much for the rest of the year. Pluto's your ability to transform. So this is a more reflective time about your transformation and the work that you've been doing on it. So let us begin. And this is our overview for the week. And we have Monday. I've got this labeled by the dates. And in that blue bar, I have the moon sign. So you can see we begin on Monday with Virgo. It does step into Libra. I think it's late Monday, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, it's in Scorpio. Thursday, Ophiuchus. Friday, it's in Sagittarius with that full moon. Saturday, and then late Sunday. So as you can see, I mean, every day practically it's a different moon sign. So emotionally, get ready for a little bit of a roller coaster. On Monday, it's late Sunday, Monday. Venus and Mercury do enter Gemini, so this is a big sign change for them. This is about relationships, learning, communication, and in the sign of Gemini, which is about learning, communication, and curiosity. And then on Wednesday, it's actually Wednesday afternoon, the sun will enter Gemini. So again, early in the week is not a lot of transits, very few, but the activity of the moon and the sign changes will more than make up for that. Plus, we have the solstice this week on Thursday, or the equinox, I'm sorry. It's the equinox on Thursday, full moon on Friday. This is just going to be a busy week in its own weird way. So, let us begin with the moon in Virgo. And it's just timed out on me, my apologies. We begin with the moon in Virgo. The moon is your soul, it's your emotional self. In Virgo, it's looking for perfection, or at least to improve anyways. So this is a time where you're seeing where you can improve in your life and where you can get better. And know that there are places that you can improve in life and that these are showing up. It's time to accept responsibility, get down to work on it, basically. Make the plan of action that's going to help you get there and get going on it. So Mercury, or not Mercury, but the moon in Virgo, very much about self-improvement, seeing where you can go. And this is a waxing moon. So this is a building energy. You're seeing where it is you need to go to get better. Be careful of criticism or endless planning, just running around in circles. You have to have the perfect plan, otherwise it's not going to work. Or self-criticism, just tearing yourself down. Both of those will hold you back and hold you down. That started on Friday. On Sunday, Venus, this transit starts in Taurus and moves into Gemini, will be in a square, which is a challenge to Neptune and Pisces. The minute I say square, a lot of people have a panic. I want you to realize that the purpose of the square is to help you build strength. Bodybuilders, they learn form and then they lift heavier weights to help them get better. The purpose of a square is to challenge you, to help you improve and get stronger. So Venus is about relationships, receiving help from others, can also be creativity, rest and recreation, relaxation. With Neptune, the challenge of being there. Neptune if there's a lesson for Neptune, is being open to spirit, listening for spirit, and just being present in the moment. Don't just do something, sit there. And in Pisces, that's emphasized. Neptune is the natural ruler of Pisces. So you're beginning this transit with Venus in Taurus, finding stability in being still. And then as it moves into Gemini, it's about learning something new, perhaps a new spiritual insight, learning from another person, a new insight that will help strengthen your spiritual ability and your spiritual identity or your spiritual skills in this area. So find peace and calming through spiritual practices or spiritual relationships. Take time to focus on idealism, peaceful imagery, nice meditation stuff. Know that relationships can have a spiritual element to them. Your best helpers may be sensitive or spiritually sensitive in some way. Be careful of falling for illusions, as it can lead to loneliness, or falling into fantasies and just trying to escape. And Venus and Taurus can be incredibly stubborn, so be careful of that as well. Also starting over the weekend, Mercury and Venus go conjunct or joined together. So it's, learning and communication, about relationships. So this is about improving your relationships first, about finding them stable. Taurus is about grounding and stability, and check my notes. I got them right here. It's the type of day it's been for me. I'm sorry. Naturalness, ease, simplicity, silence. Just being present, being with people, knowing that it's a good thing to do that. But improve your relationships using communication, both listening and speaking. Know when to listen and when to speak. And sometimes silence is golden. Learn from people who excel at communications and are good at relating to other people. You know, there are those people that just get along. Believe it or not, it's a skill and you can learn it. Um, and as this moves into Gemini, that communication really becomes important. So it's practicing those skills, knowing, okay, I watched people do it in Taurus and I was there. Now it's time to practice the skill and ask the questions, listen for the answer. Let me move this down because I'm covering up the end date. Be careful of talking at people instead of to them. And it's very possible this is the shadow. Gemini or Mercury just likes to talk, and in Gemini, where Mercury rules, it can become a real royal chatterbox. So be careful of just endlessly talking to people and pigeonholing them. We've all seen that person, unfortunately. Also, flowery language that is no meaning or idle chit chat. Also, be careful of overstating the obvious and talking it to death. So it begins in Taurus, finding that peace and stability, moving into Gemini, communication. And also on Sunday, this is a little bit quicker, but we have Mercury in a square to Neptune. And like I said, Mercury in Taurus, learning to listen, being patient. And Neptune in Pisces, don't just do something, sit there, be still, be present, and be open to those spiritual experiences. And it's the challenge of being still. So face the challenge of knowing that there's more to reality than meets the eye. Just because there's physical world, there's other realms as well. Can you see your thoughts? Um, Spiritual experiences can be just as valid as the physical, and impossible situations can happen. Be open to unexpected knowledge and insights, especially as Mercury moves into Gemini. It is possible for you through meditative and spiritual practices just to receive the insights and knowledge that you actually need at this moment. And it's challenging. And so working through the challenge of being still and being in the moment so that you can receive that information can be very rewarding. Getting caught up in your own head, thoughts, delusions, or fantasies can lead you where you do not want to be. Lost in idle chit chat and chatter is just going to tune everything out. This happens late Sunday, Monday, depending on the model I use, but I'm having it on Monday just because. Venus, ladies before gentlemen, enters Gemini. She actually does. Venus enters Gemini first. So this is an opportunity to learn about others. Venus is about relationship, receiving help from others, also restoration, recovery, the arts. And this is about learning from others, how you relate to them, how you can communicate with them, how you can work with them. Be prepared to change your opinion of others if new information arises. Listen to others carefully, ask questions, and let them answer without interruption. These are people skills. This is a time, Venus in Gemini is about learning people skills and how to relate with and work with other people. New people may come into your life, or you may meet familiar faces in a new way. You think you know someone until they say something interesting. Be careful thinking that you know someone and falling into boring routines or just trying to keep them pigeonholed. It's just not going to work. Or trying to control others with words. That can be a disaster in this situation. Words that wound very badly. And then, playing me too, we have Gemini being entered by Mercury. Mercury is the natural ruler of Gemini, so Mercury really enjoys being here. Mercury learning communication, being open-minded, new information, new ideas. This in Gemini, which Mercury rules is very similar. This is just an opportunity to learn and be exposed to a lot of new information and a lot of new ideas, and expect it to happen fast. So open your mind to new possibilities and ideas. Listen to how you speak. Is a great opportunity. As I was browsing different things, great opportunity to learn how to communicate and learn how you learn best. So learn how to speak to yourself as well, and listen to that self-communication. Learn how you speak to others, because what you're saying to them, I was reading these books on the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, little aside here, the subconscious mind can't tell whether you're talking to yourself or talking to others. What you say about other people, your subconscious mind is saying, oh, that's about you. So be careful. Watch your language. What are you really saying? And knowing that that applies to yourself, and that's what you're learning about yourself. So be careful with your words and how you use them. Pay attention to how you communicate. Make changes as needed. Listen to others and learn from them. Ask questions as well. Pay attention to wordsmiths. These are people who can communicate clearly and creatively. This is a person who can take a difficult concept and make it understandable to people, or it can say this really deep truth in a way that just gets people to say, wow. We all know these people who are good communicators. Pay attention to them. Ask them how they learned. That'll help you. Also, be open to people with a depth of knowledge to offer. Uh, Mercury Gemini is also trivial pursuit. So this is breadth of knowledge. You're going to be expect to be exposed to a lot of different ideas and information. Be careful of shutting down your learning. You're believing that you can't learn or know it all, or your communication. Just endless talking with no intent of listening is going to drive people away, or just not listen. Not listening to people thinking that you can't learn it all. That is going to hurt you as well. Watch out for excessive activity without any purpose for busy work. Mindless busy work is a bad thing. Tuesday, early in the day, the moon is going to enter Libra. Virgo likes things planned out. Libra says ambiguity is okay. So Libra is about balancing things. And notice that when you put like a thing that weighs 2 grams and you put that little 2-gram weight on it, it doesn't like perfectly stay still. It goes up and down. It works through that back and forth motion, and then eventually it calms down. So time to regroup and reorient emotionally. And things are going to be in flux a little bit. Things will rise and fall. That's okay. Accept paradox. It just happens. And may not make sense. It's okay. Be okay with ambiguity. Not everything is going to be crystal clear, but you'll get what you need. Know that emotionally and in your soul, you're getting what you absolutely need. You understand why? No, that's okay. Falling into indecision can hold you just as far back as being a perfectionist, and holds you back from that balance and that stability that you're hoping to achieve. Uh, Libra in a way is about finding balance and stability, but in like Taurus, the ground is flat and you're not just you stand on it, you're going to be pretty much okay. Libra is about that up and down and those undulations, the rising and the falling, and it's okay to work with that. Wednesday, Sun in Taurus Gemini is in square to Neptune in Pisces. So the Sun, your ego, your core self is being challenged by spiritual information and ideas, and the need to sit still and be receptive and just chill out. During this transit, the Sun will go into Gemini. So it's going to go into this stable, go through the challenge of just being calm and being still into learning. So, face the challenging of integrating spirituality into your identity. Move from stabilizing presence to one of curiosity. So expect this being challenged by spiritual curiosity. You may run into something new. Work with it and face the challenge of working with it. This can lead to a greater understanding of your beliefs and to your own growth and development in this area of life. And remember, the key to working with Neptune is don't just do something, sit there. So be reading that information or being taking in that information, but those subtle hints, pay attention to them. And how does that apply to your core identity? That's going to be very important here. Be open to new teachers' ideas or experiences. They can help you build your confidence and knowledge. Um, like I say, in Neptune, be present. I think that's the most important lesson that Neptune and Pisces can teach you, is to be present and in the moment. Be careful of falling into blind zeal, accepting information without analysis. Falling for the lies of gurus and spiritual know-it-alls can be a disaster. Also, watch out for overstating your ability or knowledge, or being seduced by materialism and information or teachers that exalt themselves. That's just going to be a disaster. And that instead of this square strengthening you, if you're falling into the shadow, those things can crush you. And as I remind people about the squares, it's about a pressure and it's about a challenge. And, if you run into that guru who you think is full of it, you know, calmly, cautiously, carefully walk away. Best thing to do is saying no, thank you, knowing that that's the challenge you may face. And on Wednesday in the early afternoon, it's just before 2 o'clock in Eastern time, the sun does enter Gemini. And the sun is your core self, your ego, your core identity, personality. There are people who say, you're here to get rid of your ego. You're here to learn to have a healthy ego and to calm down the shadow of the ego, the unhealthy ego. Not to get rid of it, but to heal it. And in Gemini, it's learning about yourself. So it's time to open up to new ideas about who you are and learn about them more. Information may arise from different sources. Be open to them. Listen to others as well, as they can be a reflection of you. Remember, the world is your mirror. I can't remember who said that, but the world is a mirror and it's a reflection of you. So pay attention to what you're seeing out in the world, as that can be the greatest teacher about yourself. What are you seeing in the world? How does that reflect you? Avoid staying stuck and focused in the past or focusing on old and outdated ideas and information. If you think you know it all, trust me, you don't. I'm a librarian, a retired librarian at that right now. I don't know everything, but I can sure find the information if I work at it hard enough. So be open to new ideas and learning about yourself, learning about other people and trying to help other people without applying the information to yourself. Best way to teach other people is to take the information you're learning and live it. And on this day, this gets really interesting, is the moon enters Scorpio. So your ego, your core self wants to play Gemini, learn a lot of information. Your soul in Scorpio wants to learn, go deep into an idea. And deep personal truths, and face deep personal truths. And these are ones that can cut you to your soul. Scorpio is about delving deep into things. Um, I likened in one class discussion, I likened Gemini to Trivial Pursuit and Scorpio to a PhD. And the moderator of the discussion really liked that. So Gemini, breadth of knowledge; Scorpio, depth of knowledge. So this is learning deep truths about yourself and about your emotional self and about your soul. This can be an intense time emotionally. So Wednesday can be pretty intense day because of these two particular sign changes. Be careful of falling into a rotten mood or creating unnecessary complications. These can make any situation worse. So falling into a rotten mood, not listening to people, shadow of the sun in Gemini, disaster in the making. Or endless chatter is also going to be bad as well. Thursday, Mercury in Gemini, sextile to Mars in Aries. So Mercury, Gemini, the courage to learn and communicate and listen. Very powerful. Have the courage to explore new ideas and information. And a sextile is an excitement and an interest. So you may run into something new. Have the courage to explore it and dig into it. Especially ideas that excite you, as I said that. Learn to express your ideas with conviction. Like, what do you believe and why? And learn to have the courage to express that. You may face people that doubt or challenge you. Know that this is practice. Don't see them as enemies. The weightlifter does not see weights as its opposition. They see the weights as something that's helping them become stronger. If people challenge you, it may be showing you weaknesses or where you need to learn more. Be open to that. Say, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Thank you. I need to learn more about that. Really gets interesting. See it as a way to learn, communicate more clearly as well. Look to others that went against, and this is just something I like, wow, this is kind of neat. Went against the grain for inspiration. The example that came to mind was Einstein with his theory of relativity. He came out with it, it was attacked. Now it's pretty much a given. So these new ideas, have the courage to delve into them. And on Thursday, the moon will enter Ophiuchus. Really should have used a different color circle. Oh well. It's an opportunity for emotional healing. As we said, Ophiuchus is the wounded healer. It's where you've been wounded, and you're here now to learn how to heal yourself. So you may find information that helps you heal your soul. Have the courage to explore that. We'll tie these two transits together a little bit. It's an opportunity for emotional healing and restoration. Let people into your inner circle and into your life who can help you heal these deep wounds. You may serve as a mentor or inspiration to others through your healing. The shadow is refusing to heal or living the wounds. And this can make your life more miserable. And on Thursday, this is Eastern time, just outside of where I live, just before 5 o'clock, we will enter the solstice. This will be the shortest day of the year. Sun-wise, we'll have the most sun today if it's a nice, clear, sunny day. So as you can see, pretty interesting sky. If I have the time on Thursday, I'll do a reading. On Friday, the moon enters Sagittarius. Like I said, there's a roller sign a day for the moon. So it's the emotional roller coaster this week. That's fine. Ride it. The moon emotionally, you're ready for Sagittarius to do something new, learn something new and exciting. Gemini, sitting in the library reading. Sagittarius wants to get up and go out in the world and explore. So it's time for something new and exciting, time to go out and have some fun, look for it, be open to opportunities as they arise. Things can happen spontaneously. It'll be good. Shadow, falling into self-righteousness or trying to maintain the status quo can leave you bored and unhappy. We're going to do what we always do. You know, that Sheldon Cooper routine, status quo antebellum. We did this last Friday, and we're going to do it this Friday. We've done it this way every Friday. Boring, it'd be bad. And also on Friday, right after it enters, you will have the full moon in Sagittarius. So this is the sun in Gemini, your ego excited about learning, and the soul wanting to get up and go out and do something. So this is a balance. When you have an opposition, ideally this is a balance where the two planets are balancing and learning to work together. So you may learn something new and then see the opportunity to explore it out in the world. That's good. Don't get, the tug of war. I'm just going to sit and read books all day. And I was like, no, I want to go out and party all night and have fun. That tug of war can be very destabilizing. So take time to reflect on who you believe you are, how you present yourself in the world. That's important. Also time to reconcile, heal these two images. What are you learning and how are you carrying that out in the world as well? It can be very, very important here. As contradictory as this may seem, do take a look, because it involves the moon and the soul likes to reflect, and this is a time of reflection. Excuse me. Take time to reflect on what you're learning and how can you take what you're learning, your head knowledge, and live it out in the world. That's going to be a very important lesson. Be careful shutting down, as it can lead to stagnation and emptiness. Thinking that you know it all and falling into routines will be horrible here. Mindless, repetitive routine will be fulfilling for you. Saturday, this gets it to be an interesting situation. We have the nodes of the moon here, and Gemini or Mercury is in what they call a T-square. I've got this painted out. The moon's nodes are always in opposition. It's kind of a balancing act and a reflection. So, but Mercury is in a 90-degree angle to both of them at the same time. So it's called a T-square. If I were to describe this simply, it's between a rock and a hard place. And so let me explain what the nodes of the moon mean, and then I will explain Mercury to the south node, Mercury to the north node, and then piece it all together for you. So the south node always is the shadow of the sign that it's in. That's how I like to read it. It's where you've done enough work here, but you're beating it into the ground. You're overdeveloping it, and so South Node in Virgo is about perfectionism, and it's about the shadow of perfectionism, over planning, getting caught in that rut, crippling self-criticism, holding yourself to unrealistic expectations and ideals. And Mercury in Gemini, we know Mercury is about learning and communication. In Gemini, wanting to learn this new information, and the challenge of seeing how perfectionism is holding you back from learning what you want to learn. So I have written here is facing the challenges of releasing perfectionist habits to hold you back from learning and communicating. So how is these unrealistic expectations holding you back from learning what you want to learn? Uh, Learn to release control of the process and unrealistic expectations and accept what is before you. Endless chatter and planning can be seen as you being defensive and resisting learning. So the challenge is to see how these unrealistic expectations hold you back. And Mercury is again in a square. It's a challenge to the North Node. And this is in Pisces. The North Node is the ideal. There's actually the ideal, and then there's the shadow, and I will point that out. The ideal of the North Node in Pisces is an evolutionary intention. Pisces is about transcendence and just being able to see the bigger picture and being present and being in the moment. So Gemini, Mercury and Gemini, learning information and seeing how, and the challenge is seeing how that applies to you right here, right now, and being in that moment and saying, oh, wow, this is kind of that idea of why I'm learning this right now, and being able to see that. That's the ideal. Let me get my notes here. Accept the challenge of learning to go with the flow, and learning as opportunities, information arises, knowing that you can't control the process. Things are going to come to you, go with it. Know that learning or a good conversation can occur spontaneously and unplanned. Now, Pisces does have a shadow, and that's falling into fantasy or escapism. So, and the challenge in Mercury can be thinking it knows it all, and that's the fantasy of being a know-it-all, and facing the challenge of facing the reality that you don't know it all. Doesn't like that, so falling and playing for forgetful or playing the martyr. Oh, look at how these people are picking on me because of what I think and what I believe. Bad thing to do. In that case, the square can be crushing and defeating. Uh, People will see through the deception. And let me tie this all together, because we have the south node and the north node. So you have the south node, perfectionist ideals and unrealistic expectations. Balance, being able to see that and learning to go with the flow. So the idea here is to release these unrealistic expectations and learn to go with the flow, avoiding fantasies and daydreaming, and but being open to the information when it arises. And Mercury and Gemini being open to new information and ideas, not wanting to control the learning process, but accepting the learning as it happens. That is your ideal. That's what you're going for. The shadow of that is thinking that you have to control the process, and somehow, some way, there's a way you can do it. Forget it. And on Sunday, this happens late Sunday night, the moon enters Capricorn. So the soul, your moon, your emotional self is up for a challenge and one that is worthy of your time and commitment. What about that Mercury T-square? uh, know that it can take self-discipline to succeed and that if you do the work, it will be worth it. Capricorn wants to accept a worthy challenge, and emotionally, you're up for it and you're ready for it, and you can put the emotional energy into it to do that. Um, and it's going to be a quick transit to Pluto retrograde, so it's going to be a little reflection about how you're doing your work, but know that that's an intention to help you transform, be it some deep healing to help you have success. Be careful of being a control freak, especially of people around you. Know that if you try to control everything and control people, it's just going to be a disaster in the making. All right, so that's the week. I do want to talk about a special event that's going to be coming up in August. I'm working out the details with my friend. It's a special course on the nodes of the moon. My friend, Dr. Danny, and I should have put her website in here. Do I have that up? No, I don't. Crud. All right. But if you search Dr. Danny in 13 Signs Astrology, you'll find it. She specializes in Venus readings, by the way. So she does a lot of stuff on Venus. She asked me to help her teach a course on the nodes of the moon. That's the south node and the north node. So I will be doing it's looking like a 3 lessons, at least, 3 lessons where I teach one about the south node, one about the north node, and then how to read it in the your birth chart with an example. And there'll be handouts and all sorts of fun charts like that. Um, and it's looking like a live session as well. So more information as I get it. Danny is really interesting. She does have her own YouTube channel as well. I'll get all that up on here. But I'll put a link for her site in the video in the description as well. But I will be working with her. She's a good friend of mine. So looking forward to this event. So that being said, follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Well, if you're watching this, please do follow me on YouTube. There's something I'm on called the Digital Soul Space, which is a now free website asking donations only, troll-free zone. Uh, the big thing here is that your digital data is private and you own it, you control it. All of these companies up here, these 4 here that I have listed and others, they're making billions of dollars off of your data and you're not getting a penny of it, which is rather unfair in my ideas. Digital Soul Space is built around your privacy. It is a spiritual, it's got subsections for you name the modality, it's in there. And if it's not, and you suggest it to Michael or one of the other moderators, Kimber or Anne. No, it's Kimber. I think it's Anne, yeah. When in doubt, check. I got the resource. I'm a librarian, use it. And they do have an app, which is cool. Yeah, it's Kimber. Yeah, it's Anne Marie. I had the Anne, just not the Marie. So it's Kimber, Anne Marie, and Michael. If you make the suggestion, it's very likely that will happen. They're working on making it better. Ask questions. If somebody knows an answer, they'll post it. So it's really cool. Site. Making the changes and updates. Go to freedomthroughastrology.com, my current site. Where you can order readings. If you want to see how your chart changes, you can order a quick 6 reading. First set of keys I ask you to get, learn your birth chart using 13 sign. I use all the ancient methods. So natural size, the signs are the natural size and the houses match the signs, not the other way around. And also, believe it or not, the information is there. The houses are to be read clockwise, not counterclockwise. So I do that. I do birth chart. I can do a past life or a karmic reading telling you a specific lesson you came here to heal and release. Can combine them into one. Second set of keys are the horoscopes. And I can look at life cycle, which is the outer planets in relation to themselves. What specific lesson do they want you to learn? A yearly overview, break it down to 3 months, break it down to a month. Ideally, I'm doing this new moon to new moon because that is actually the ancient set time for month. The months were actually new moon to new moon. So that's the natural cycle, and I like to break it down that way. If you want it from the 1st of June to the end of June or the 1st of July to the end of July, I'll do that for you as well. But my preference is new moon to new moon. I do offer packages, and when you buy a package, whichever one you get, there is a 10% discount figured in. If you click on subscribe or you fill out the pop-up, I do have these out of order, my bad. I thought I had this up. I do a once a week newsletter, which includes a summary of the major astrological events and an insight for the week, exclusive only subscriber discounts, offers, information, live current events, and other information. So just an email and a sign up. I do only once a week information there. I do have a blog where I do post the transits, but each day I like to take one transit in depth. And then if you want to do orders, all of them are in the services. So if you on that main page and you click, it will take you to the right place. But all my services are here. If you want consultations, this is something that's coming up soon. As soon as I get more information on it. If you do have like an astrological question, it's like, hey, I really want to know more about this. 15, 30, 45 minutes. I'm going to take it up to an hour and then an hour and a half. You got to add those in. But you can ask me a question and I will dig into your chart and answer that for you. So there you go. Like, follow, share. Thank you. Remember to sign up for the newsletter. Please like, follow, and share. And remember, in the visible sky, your life does change. Things are different when you align with the visible sky. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great week. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Happy Solstice. Enjoy that. Graduation weekend. If you're a graduate, happy graduation. I may put, if you're a graduate and you can prove to me a graduate, I'm going to put a code in the, you show me that you're a graduate of 2023, either high school or college or trade school or whatever. I'll put a code in the video description, and maybe you get a discount on a reading. Thank you very much. Have yourself a good day, good week, and may the stars be with you.